I had a lot of like layers of, and I messed up. I meant to bring the hat up with me. I have a sample hat, but
I saw that one the other day.
I left it in LA.
It's fine, man. Don't worry.
But I brought a bag.
We can let's get started. So thank you again, JD, for coming up here, man.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm glad to be here.
It's just weird to be doing this again. But one of the things that I did want to start with, and like I said, it's weird using notes because I used to never do notes because I felt like it would interrupt flow, but I wanted to hit specific like key points throughout this.
Yeah, I think notes are cool.
And I think just maybe like if you can give the audience like a little bit background of like who JD is and where you grew up, because I'm a little confused myself. You're from the Bay Area, but you're living out in LA right now.
Yeah. Okay, so I was born in Vallejo. And then I grew up in Hercules in the East Bay, went to school there, high school, and then I went down to Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles for college, and I spent 4 years there, got my bachelor's degree, and now I'm here. I guess that's like the quick, quick gist.
I was going through your Instagram and I saw that you got accepted to University of San Diego.
Yeah,
is that San Diego State or UC
no,
USD,
not UCSD. So I got into LMU first.
Got it.
And then I got into USD a little later. And at that time, when I was still in high school, USD is a bit more academically competitive school compared to other schools. So USD it's a harder school to get into, a little more prestigious. So I was thinking about going there. I did this like overnight accepted student overnight camp at USD while I was a senior, and I didn't really like the people there. So
no, yeah, I totally get
it's a huge culture shock if you grew up in Hercules, in the Bay Area, and then you go to this super bougie, nice school, USD. It just looks like a country club. It doesn't really look like a school. And everyone there, you can just tell everyone's dripping in money. It's not very diverse there either. It's pretty white there. So that's why I chose LMU. It was in Los Angeles. There's a lot more going on out there. LMU is actually a very diverse school. And then the cherry on top that made me pick LMU was they had a specific major for entrepreneurship. So you could go to the business school at LMU and major in entrepreneurship, whereas if you went to USD or a lot of these other business schools, it's just the classic finance, accounting, management, and like business admin or like marketing or something. So.
And speaking of that, because like I know in like I said, as I was researching you and I was looking stuff into it, you've always, one thing I didn't know, bro, you're into photography. Like, and that's something you've never brought up anytime we've ever spoken before.
Yeah, because I don't know, I don't have like a lot of nice camera equipment now. In high school, I literally got into it because I would go thrifting and stuff for old clothes and stuff, and then there would be like old 35mm cameras there, and I picked up like an old camera from the 80s or 90s or something for like $5-10, put some film in it, and then I just started learning how to shoot. And then at my local community college in high school, Contra Costa College, I was taking photography classes there, and so I really got into it. That was just more of a like outlet hobby for my creative expression. It was a chance to be creative. It's actually kind of expensive to shoot with film. So I was really heavy into it in like high school and college, and then as I got more busy, I guess, with like the business side of things, I've been shooting less, and I lost a few cameras too.
I thought you had like all those Polaroids.
I had a huge Polaroid collection, maybe like 10 old Polaroids. I would just buy them from like garage sales
Dude,
or swap meets
I've
just
come up on
because they're cool.
Polaroid,
Like,
yeah.
and then I would buy the old Polaroid film, which is also super expensive. And I would mess around with those. And yeah, when I moved to LMU for college, and my mom started like renovating her house since everyone moved out, me and my sister. I feel like she just moved a lot of my stuff around, and I just lost all my cameras.
Was photography like the way into your creative outlet though? Because at least for me, I think what got me into the concept of creative, right, is probably graffiti back in the day when we were in middle school and high school.
Oh, I was huge into graffiti in middle school. It was funny. I would like steal the stickers from USPS at the post office, and I would like steal Sharpies and tag them up and slap them around. I would make those homemade drip markers.
Yeah.
You would take like a Expo marker or anything.
Take the felt off.
Yeah, you'd take the felt off, and then you'd put like paint in it, and then a little like marble or something so it shakes, and then you could just like tag everything up. But that was in middle school. I was terrible at graffiti itself. I liked the whole culture around it. That was probably like 6th, 7th grade when I was like messing around with graffiti. But yeah, before photography, like 8th grade, I took my first graphic design class at CCC. Like while I was in high school, pretty much every summer, I just took like summer classes at CCC. So I took Photoshop classes there in like 8th grade. I was just really into graphic design. I didn't know much about it, but as a little kid.
The concept of graphic design though, like I didn't know about graphic design, I think until I met Mike. Because the first time I've ever heard of like clothing companies, I remember my friend introduced me to the Hundreds back in high school.
Yeah, Hundreds was probably the first streetwear brand that my friends put me on in middle school.
But I didn't get that concept of streetwear or like clothing in that section. So how are you as an 8th grader like, I want to do graphic design? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, dude, you're like digging way back. I like barely even think about this stuff anymore. But like, since we're getting there, it really started in like when I was maybe in like 4th, 5th grade. My next door neighbor, he was the same age as me, and we were just into the same things. We had been next door neighbors since we were 4 or 5 years old. And so he was really into skateboarding and snowboarding when we were really young. So we kind of got into like skate culture and extreme sports and all that stuff. And so that's when I first started learning about like the very first like fashion brands like DC, America, S, Element.
LRG was around that time.
LRG.
Enjoy as well.
I was big into Enjoy. DGK was another one.
Yep.
All those like Zoomies brands, all those skate brands. This was like before social media and...
Mm-hmm. You would actually have to get the magazines.
Yes. Yep. So we would get magazines from like Tilly's, Mainland. Both of us subscribed to Trans World Skateboarding, Thrasher. So we would just get magazines and stuff. And that was our first exposure to, I guess, streetwear, skate culture, street culture. And then in middle school, I was never really that good at skateboarding either. So I don't know. I guess I always just tried to figure out like what else can I do around this culture of skateboarding, even if I'm not that good at skating. So being like a filmer, a cameraman kind of came into me. Like I would film my friends. We would make like Windows Movie Maker, like skateboard edits, dude, on like a Windows XP. I don't even know where those videos are.
Yeah,
I wish I could see them.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I feel like you and I had the same childhood. I was not the best graffiti artist, nor like the best skater.
But we loved that stuff.
I love the culture.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. I think it was the community.
I think a lot of people like us in our generation, our age, you're 23, right?
24, yeah.
You're 24, I'm 23. So yeah, like we like still had the childhood without like the internet, basically.
Yes.
So we really just had to have our imaginations, and we had to have our own fun, you know, instead of just like playing games and video games and stuff. I remember our moms, when we would hang out at each other's houses, we would always just be trying to play PS2 and play video games, and they would make us go outside.
Yeah.
And be like, you guys have to go outside and play, and then you can come in after and play video games. So yeah, we just like skated, like adventured around. It was cool.
I was looking as well as I started going through it all. The first post of Jaded Course was 2012, I believe.
Yeah, dude. It was like December 2012. I was a junior in high school.
Yeah.
And
you were early then, because there wasn't really, kids weren't like, I'm gonna go create my own.
So before Jaded Course in 2012, it was like basically 2013. I say like Jaded Course. We were like making our first hoodies and stuff in the fall and winter of December 2012, but we didn't start selling our product until January 2013. So the second semester of our junior year of high school. But scratch all that, before I even started Jaded Course with one of my best friends and co-founders, Jason Corpus, and I was in 8th grade, maybe even 7th grade. I was making skateboard wax because
What?
I don't know why. I made wax out of crayons. It was weird, but basically,
Did it work?
yeah. So basically, what I did was you take a soda can, like a 12-ounce like Coca-Cola can, cut the top off of it, so it's just like a little aluminum tin, and then I would get like old crayons. I don't know where I got them from, but somewhere, and then you melt them in the oven. My mom was so pissed at me. I remember she was like, "Why are you putting crayons in my oven, like in the kitchen?" But anyways, you'd melt it, and then I would get these little like molds, just like little plastic cups or something, and then poured the melted wax in there and made like skateboard wax and snowboard wax, because we snowboarded too in the winters. So if you've ever waxed a snowboard, you like take the wax and put it on an iron, and then that's how you wax it. So you used it for that and for just like putting on curbs and rails and stuff.
We would just find old candles. I would never.
Exactly. No, I'm thinking back on it, that's so stupid. There's in my basement back home, there's still like a couple blocks of wax I made 10, 15 years ago.
I was interested in making designs because I know I'm a big fan of Benny Gold.
Huge fan.
He has his own like wax things for skateboarding as well.
They're the airplane. It's the
wax.
airplane Stay Gold wax. You know, it might have been from something like that. I might have seen like Diamond Supply Co. with like a diamond-shaped wax or something. And I don't know. It was just, I was like a weird creative kid. I don't know why I was making skateboard wax, but all my friends that skated thought it was cool, and so I'd like bring it to school. And then I was actually selling the wax to like kids in my middle school that skated for like $1 for a piece of wax.
That's what I did. I used to do that with graffiti ink though.
Yeah.
I'd make my own ink and then sell it off to kids.
Yeah. In middle school, you bought and sold the randomest stuff to your friends. But I think that's cool. That's kind of where like capitalism and the whole like entrepreneurship starts from in middle school. You start getting like a knack. I just always had a knack for business.
And that's but then like with Jaded Course, especially with the symbol, I wanted to get into that, like the name and the whole logo. Like how did that come together?
Yeah. So fast forward, I made like the Kazillion wax. I made like these Kazillion shirts. They were actually like box logo. It said Kazillion in a box logo, and I was like 12 years old. No one really knew what Supreme was back then
back
either.
in the day when Supreme was still like...
They were still kind of underground. Only like skaters kind of knew what Supreme was. So I did like some box logo Kazillion shirts, but it was just me. My friends thought it was cool. Kazillion, it was like whatever. It didn't go anywhere, so I just stopped making stuff. And then, yeah, so now a few years, I'm in high school. We're feeling ourselves even more, I guess. Like, we think we have sick fashion style or whatever. We thought we just dressed cool and we knew what looked cool. We just had an eye for fashion. And so I was trying to convince one of my friends to start a clothing brand with me, because I was like, look, I made like some t-shirts like in middle school and high school. Like, I know I can make t-shirts, but I need a friend so we can pool our money together, like make bigger batches. And I need a friend that like has an influence on like other kids at school that I don't have influence over. So I remember just telling all my friends that I wanted to start a clothing brand, and one of them, Jason Corpus, he was actually like really into it. And we actually started it after we watched this, I think it was an HBO series called How to Make It in America. Have you ever watched that?
How to Make It in America? No.
Probably my most favorite TV show ever. They only made 2 seasons of the show. I think it's on HBO. It's called How to Make It in America. Kid Cudi has a supporting role in the show. He's like some character in it. It's so cool.
Like based on true stories, or is it?
No, it's fiction, but it's based on 2 guys in New York City, and they started denim company, or they started a clothing brand, and then it turned into a denim company. But it was 2 seasons of like these 20-something guys in New York starting their own clothing brand from scratch. And we thought it was amazing, and so we started our clothing brand after we watched that show. We like binge watched it, made the clothing brand right after. So I have Jason, and we're like, okay, what do we want to call our clothes? And then both our initials are JC. I'm D.Coffey, he's Jason Corpus. So we're like, okay, the clothing brand has to be like the initials JC.
I remember now. The J and the C become the...
Yeah. So then I think we were literally just like hanging out at my house, like looking through a dictionary, looking through all the J's, all the C's, just what words look cool. And then I don't know, just like, it was pretty quick, probably like after a few days or maybe a week, we came up with, I think we picked Course first, and then we were like something Course, and then we picked Jaded Course, and yeah, the rest is history.
Kind of just stuck.
It stuck, and then so, okay, we got the name, right? And then now it's, okay, we need a logo. We need a cool logo, something that's, iconic, like Nike's logo. And so Jason didn't know how to use Photoshop or anything. So I was a junior in high school, so I was like 16. I'd taken a few Photoshop classes before, so I kind of knew how to like move things around and like make things look how I wanted them on Photoshop. So I don't know, I was just fooling around. We were sketching logos, trying to make something with a J and a C, but not make it look too obvious, but still cool. And then I just came up with this. It's actually, I think, 2 J's.
Yeah, it's just a J.
It's just 2 J's. Yeah, but then it's a J and a C. Yeah, the logo came out pretty nice, and then, yeah, we just made clothes throughout high school and college. And then now we get to Divert Denim Co. So now I'm a junior in college. So we had been working on Jaded Course for 4 years. I was doing fashion shows at UCLA, LMU, in San Francisco.
Before you jump to Divert Denim, I wanted to ask about the dunk exchange that you participated in.
Jeez.
What was
That was the...
Because I remember dunk exchange back in the day, man. Those were crazy. They were a really fun time, especially in the school culture and stuff like that.
You're like Nardwar right now. Like, I'm like, wow, I forgot I even did dunk exchange in high school.
Big. At least to me it is. I don't even know if dunk exchange...
Funny story though. All my friends in high school were huge shoe heads. Everyone loved Jordans. Jason was a huge shoe head since we were in I remember 4th, 5th grade. I remember he came to school with metallic 5s. And I was like, what are those?
Yeah.
They look so nice. And then at school, I'm in elementary school and everyone's complimenting my friend on his Jordans. I'm like, this is crazy. He's just wearing some shoes and people it's almost like he gets respect because he's wearing some Jordans. That's how it was at our school growing up. So dunk exchange, for people who don't know what dunk exchange was, it was just a big shoe head meetup. They did it in the Cow Palace. I know they had
more. Before that,
yeah, they had a lot of different locations, but the one we did was at the Cow Palace in San Francisco, and you just go there and everyone brings their shoes, their heat, and they just try to sell it, or they go there and trade or buy shoes.
Yep.
So all my friends had been going to almost every dunk exchange, and then they're like, yo, people are selling their own clothes. There's local clothing brands selling clothes here, and some of them are actually pretty big. And we're like, oh, cool. Okay, let's do it. I think to get a table at Dunk Exchange was
200?
I think it was only 100 maybe when we went.
It was,
This was wet. This was right when we started our clothing line in high school. So.
Because I remember I wanted to get a table to sell some shoes one time. It was 2014, I think.
Okay, yeah, we probably did it in 2013. I don't know the exact date. It was probably early 2013, right when the brand started. And so we get to Dunk Exchange late. We're supposed to get there I think 2 hours before they open the doors to the public. But for whatever reason, me and all my friends, we showed up there right when it started. Yeah. And they were so mad at us. They were almost not gonna let us set up a table because they were there's already people here, the event already started, you guys aren't even set up. And we're sorry. But they let us get a table anyways. I think they put us in one of the worst spots of the event because we were the last people there. And I just remember being there the whole time and no one bought any clothes. So that was that's the funny thing. We did Dunk Exchange. A ton of people stopped and talked and asked us about the clothing brand and our clothes. People thought it was cool, but I guess we're a bunch of 16-year-old kids. Everyone walking around didn't saw us and didn't think our clothes was something worth buying. So it was a humbling experience too, but we liked it. We thought it was a good experience to have.
Then
regardless.
Fast forward to...
So that was our first event we did.
True. Not even when we met. I think there was another one before that, right? Or was
no, the first one where
one.
We met at True, that was the first Jaded Course pop-up at True.
I would say that was successful. I saw a lot of online stuff.
Yeah, we came out pretty nice.
So what can you say the difference between that and Dunk Exchange and the pop-up shop at True? What was the difference, you think? That why are people buying it now?
Honestly, I have to be honest about the Jaded Course pop-up. I owe all the success of that event to Colin Taniguchi, a local artist. We didn't go to high school together, but we had friends that went to each other's high schools. So we were just mutual friends, and then I knew he was a graffiti artist, and he had always just been making super cool paintings, art, anything. He was just really good at drawing. And he didn't really have too much of a following back in 2016, the summer of 2016. People knew that Colin was a cool artist, but I don't think he was getting the credit that he deserved. and the recognition for how talented he actually is. So we had always just been friends and stuff, and then I finally like asked him, like, hey, do you want to do a collab with Jaded Course? It'll be a Colin Taniguchi Jaded Course collab. I'll let you design a whole collection for us, and then we can release it at the pop-up at True. And he was super stoked on it. And that was Colin's first event, really. And I would say his like social media following just blew up that summer. And everyone on like Twitter and Instagram was just noticing Colin's work more.
He's a dope artist, man.
Really, really awesome artist. And so people were excited for this event because Colin was the featured designer, and then I sort of was just like helping make everything happen.
Yeah. I think that's what makes good entrepreneurs. Like sometimes it's not just us, but it's our teams and who we choose to come on board.
Oh, definitely. You can't do everything on your own. Like you have to find like-minded individuals that can share the same vision as you. But yeah, shout out to Colin Taniguchi. You can see him, like he's always progressing, always doing something. So I think he's going to be really successful in the future, and I'm really glad we did that Jaded Course collab with him.
You were working at True as well, right?
Yeah, so that's how we got the True to okay a pop-up there, because I was working there, and I got the gig to work with True because of my work and experience with Jaded Course. I was just a random kid walking into True. I'd been going to True since middle school to buy clothes. My friend Zach, he was the first person to take me to Haight Street, take me to True. That's when Stussy was right next to True. Before Black Scale.
Yeah, before Black Scale.
So we saw, it's Pink Dolphin, Diamond, they did not exist on Haight Street. It was True. That was like the store.
I should have worn a True shirt. I have an old one.
I know. I was thinking about it too, but next time.
To me, they are the company that started.
Yeah, True is the OG in streetwear in San Francisco, and so, I just always looked up to True, and I was always going in there. And by the time I hit college, I just felt like I had something to offer at this point. I thought we could have a mutually beneficial relationship with True because I was like a younger kid, and people who were working there were getting older, and they needed kind of like a fresh perspective, like a fresh mind in there. And so I just started as a sales associate there, selling people shoes and clothes, and then one day the owner was just like, hey, like, I know you can do like graphic design and stuff, so do you want to like come see show me what you can do in our office? And I was like, yeah. And so the rest was history from there. I just started designing shirts and clothes for True, and then they just really liked it, and it went from there.
And from there, we have the UCLA fashion show.
Yeah, so the UCLA fashion show, someone had told me that there was a fashion show going on at UCLA, and they were like, hit this person up if you want to be in the show. So I wasn't even contacted or seeked out to be in the show, because they had huge brands in that fashion show. The Hundreds was there, Classic, when Classic was still a big brand, Joyride, I forgot the name of that brand. But yeah, there was a lot of big brands there, but then they also wanted to have local brands that were on the come up. So I met with the director of the UCLA fashion show, and she really liked all my clothes. It was like, yeah, like, your clothes are sick, let's get them in there. And at that point, I had taken some screen printing, silk screen printmaking classes at LMU. So I actually was screen printing my own clothes at that point. So I had a lot of custom stuff, like a lot of one-of-one clothes that we put in the fashion show. And that was a really awesome experience.
For Jaded?
Yeah, people started taking us more seriously after they see your clothes down a runway and other people like admiring it. That helped us a ton.
And UCLA, that's different from LMU.
Yeah.
I was looking into it, but when you got the Entrepreneurship Rising Star, the nomination, is that different from you when you actually won the entrepreneur thing, or is that like the same thing?
So my junior year of college at LMU, I had just started getting divert denim into fruition, and the director of the LMU entrepreneurship program knew from the jump everything I was doing. And so by the time their award show came my junior year of college, they knew I was onto something. So they gave me a Rising Star Award, which was given to the junior entrepreneurship majors that they thought, I guess, had the most potential. You know, just the kids in the entrepreneurship program that the directors liked the most got the award. But the Rising Star Award, a lot of other juniors got it. Maybe another dozen or so kids got that award my junior year. But my senior year, I got the Entrepreneurial Star and Leader Award.
Yep.
So there was only one of those awards, and I got that. So that was like
Divert
the
already
top.
a thing by then?
Yeah. So by my senior year, so a year after that first award, Divert Denim had entered the market, and people were buying the bags I was making, and people really liked it. So, my director at LMU gave me that award, which was pretty awesome.
So I think that's what I do want to get into is one of the main reasons why we're here is for the bags.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about them that much.
No, I'm sorry. I really wanted to get that out of the way.
I guess, yeah, it's the backstory is a little interesting.
No, I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't know. I never knew any of that stuff.
Okay, yeah. It's weird because, it's just stuff that is kind of like lodged in the back of our memory, and yeah, you forget that like other people are interested in stuff like that.
So the concept of Divert Denim, I remember when you pitched it to me, you said we're gonna make recyclable denim bags, and I was just like, okay. I do have a little bit of background in the fashion stuff, like I said, the stuff that I've been working on.
Yeah.
But where did this really just come out? Like, I think that's what.
Yeah.
Because it's an environmental thing.
It's definitely a huge shift from making streetwear clothes, because Jaded Course has always been we make kind of edgy stuff, less, I guess, like accepted clothes, you could say. It's more edgy. It's more like a creative outlet, something like that. But while I was in college, with my entrepreneurship professors and advisors there, I told them about like the clothes I make, and so I go in. I remember I was maybe like a sophomore at LMU, and I go to the director of the entrepreneurship program at LMU, and I kind of pitch him my brand, Jaded Course. And he's just like, yeah, you and like every 300 other kids that applied to this program all have their own t-shirt company. He's like, everyone makes t-shirts. Everyone can slap a word on a shirt and sell it. Like, he wasn't intrigued by that at all. It wasn't impressive to him to just have like some clothing brand. And I was like, And then I was thinking about it, like, yeah, by the time I was in college, it wasn't like it was in high school anymore, where like no, like it was kind of harder for people to like find manufacturers, design artwork on their own, and then make clothes. It was harder. Now it's so easy. They just have sites like Custom Ink, and you can just upload anything, and they'll just print it onto a shirt. So it's a little less impressive having a clothing brand as it was 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like kind of made me like sit back and think like, okay, yeah, I would love to just make clothes forever and work for a clothing brand, but when I was in college, it was sounding kind of like a further and further dream that was achievable. So I was like, I still love making clothes and making products, but I need to make something that actually helps our community, something that make a product that can make an impact on our world. And so that's where I got the whole sustainability side to the brand, because just growing up, I've always been environmentally conscious. I think our generation is definitely made a lot more aware of the implications of Earth's climate change in our world compared to like our parents and people who are older than us. They kind of care less about that. Us, I think we're thinking like, okay, yeah, there's global warming, but our day-to-day lives don't really change too much, and you know, it doesn't really affect us. But us, like, what if we have kids or grandkids down the road? 50 years from now, Earth's climate change will definitely have a bigger impact on our world, on its citizens. So, you know, something needs to be done about that. And so from there, I just did more research on fast fashion. That was something that I was becoming more and more aware of, even from working on Jaded Course in high school and working at True in college. I saw how wasteful the clothing industry is. Manufacturers waste a huge amount of clothing. If there's one small flaw in a stitching, in a stitch, they'll throw the whole tee away. Even in high school, I volunteered for Old Navy for some like community service thing, and literally our community service was we were taking B-grade Old Navy clothes. So there was, I don't know, the clothes looked perfectly fine, but we had to cut holes in the shirts, like in the back or wherever. You had to cut holes in it because when Old Navy gave those old clothes to homeless people, they would try to resell it or something. So if you had to cut holes into the clothes so the homeless people wouldn't resell it. And I think, like, geez, that's kind of that's kind of counteractive almost. Like, yeah. If you're Old Navy and you want to give clothing to the homeless, let them do whatever they want with the clothes. If they want to resell it, then let them. But I understand that hurts the market value profit, right? Of Old Navy, because now what if people are like, oh, I'm just gonna get these Old Navy clothes from this homeless guy. I'm not gonna go to the Old Navy on Market Street anymore. You know, so.
But that's not just Old Navy though. I know like a lot of fashion
companies. So that was the point I was getting at, is every like clothing company kind of does stuff that makes you think like, yeah, fast fashion is a problem. And so looking into it more, I learned that Americans throw away 26 billion pounds of clothing into landfills every single year. And of that 26 billion pounds, we can recycle 95% of it, but only 15% of it we actually recycle. So that means there's 85% of 26 billion pounds that's just sitting in our landfills that we could have made something out of. We could have gave some trash another life and had it make its rounds again instead of just sitting in a landfill producing methane and greenhouse gases.
The dying products of creating shirts, right? I know that's very wasteful and very harmful for the...
Yeah, it's very impactful to dye fabrics. When they're dyeing fabrics in Indonesia, all over Southeast Asia, they're dumping their pollutants into the rivers.
Right.
And there's rivers in Indonesia and other places around the world that are like green. It's like a green colored river because it's just, there's so many toxins in it from textile factories, textile mills. And then also the amount of water it takes just to make clothes is insane. It takes something like 7,000 gallons of water to make one pair of jeans, which is unreasonable. It doesn't make sense. So just learning about fast fashion and becoming more aware of it, I realized, yes, we need to do something about this. And is there a business opportunity out of helping our environment? You know, can I kill two birds with one stone? Can I help our environment and make a living for myself? And so that's kind of where Divert Denim came from, is I wanted to recycle. I wanted to make a product that came from recycled sources.
Yeah.
So I was like, can I recycle like old cotton t-shirts? It's kind of hard to do. On an industrial level, I know there's factories that will shred up like old cotton clothing and turn it into like industrial rags or something. You know, they're not turning it into something better. So yeah, I was like, yeah, cotton isn't really that easy to recycle. What's an article of clothing that we can recycle like fairly easier? And denim came to mind. Denim is a staple in American fashion. Since the gold rush, people have been wearing denim. In the Bay Area, Levi's is huge, and so growing up, like we always saw Levi's and Gap. And then denim is just a very durable material. And you can definitely give an old pair of jeans a second life. So that's why I decided on denim. And then looking into the denim industry and facts with them, globally, over 2 billion pairs of jeans are produced every year. And for every pair of jeans that's made, there's a pair of jeans that's thrown away into a landfill. So we're making jeans at a rapid rate, and we're just throwing away old pairs of jeans just because we're making new, more fashionable jeans.
Even aside from Divert, would it be possible to reuse a denim and then create a new denim pair out of that? Or was that...
Yeah, so that was the original idea I had before the backpacks. I was like, can you make a Frankenstein pair of jeans out of old jeans?
Yeah.
And so that, I remember pitching that to my professor, and he was like, that just sounds like way too much manual labor, and if you're making clothes, you have to have size runs. And if you're making pants, it's not even just small, medium, large. When you're making pants, it's like 30-30, 32-30, 32-30, 32-32.
Yep.
Like, you know, so it was just not feasible to make jeans. But maybe sometime down the road, if I ever opened up my own sewing factory and I could just hire a sewer to make custom one-off pieces of clothing.
Was it discouraging when you heard stuff like that from your mentor, your director? Why didn't you ever decide to quit?
Yeah, definitely. yeah, people are gonna say no so much. People, like, nobody's gonna believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. So I kind of just try to brush off whatever any doubters have to say. Even if it's your professor, even if they're the one giving you a grade, you can still challenge them. And I think that's kind of a double-edged sword of mine. Sometimes I like to challenge authority and kind of prove someone wrong. It feels good, but at the same time, that could get you into a lot of trouble. Yeah. So,
Where do you see the future of divert denim going? Because I know I've worn it, I've taken it, I've traveled with it a lot. I get a lot of compliments on it. What are the next steps that you see this?
Yeah. So the next steps is really, I would need to find a new manufacturer that can scale and produce the bags at an even cheaper cost than my last manufacturer. I've already been through 2 manufacturers to make these bags, so the whole production side is a maze. It's crazy, and people don't realize
I don't think the average person understands how hard it is.
People don't realize how difficult it is to make something like this.
Yeah.
But so basically you have to make a pattern for whatever you're making first. So you have to make a custom pattern, and then from the pattern you have to source every single material. So from the EVA foam inner lining to the nylon webbing, the zippers, the faux leather labels, to all the denim, and then even the canvas inner lining.
Which has helped me a lot because I've been stuck in the rain and my stuff gets wet.
So waterproof marine fabric, that was also repurposed.
So all of it's repurposed?
No, all the denim is, and the inner lining is repurposed. The inner lining they use to make like tarps and covers for sailboats. So it's made to be water resistant.
That makes sense. My friend, she accidentally spilled. She's gonna laugh when she hears this. She spilled her Fanta into my backpack.
Oh man!
And it just sat there. It didn't seep through, so it was pretty easy to clean. I kind of just wiped it off, and
that's cool.
And it never.
It worked.
It worked. So it did its job.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we definitely tested water in there, taking it out in the rain, and I've taken the bag around with a DSLR in it, with my phone in it, with my laptop in it, and it always stays dry.
Yeah, that's why I haven't been too worried about it. I've taken it everywhere, literally.
I've even taken this backpack snowboarding a few times, and it works fine in the snow, so it's a very well-made product.
I think I'd love to ask, where can people get Divert? I know you have the website, and then they can personally just hit you up as well.
Yeah, that's kind of where it's at right now. So that's definitely the next step I need to take, is expand distribution and maybe get into some department stores or other clothing boutiques to get them to pick it up. But honestly, retail is kind of tough. It's more about the direct to consumer now.
I do want to ask, how are you planning to separate yourself from the other bag companies just because it's environmental? And two, it looks great. It's a great bag. It catches a ton of attention. Mm-hmm. So was everything done on purpose in that sense? There's just so many backpacks out there, right? So how can I differentiate my backpack from?
Yeah, so I did do a lot of competitive analysis when I was making the backpacks, and when it comes to these backpacks compared to your typical JanSport school bag or a Herschel backpack, first off, our backpacks are produced and made in Los Angeles. They're American made, and you can tell by the quality of the bags that they're American made bags. If you hold a Divert denim backpack next to a JanSport backpack, you can easily tell the difference that this is a superior quality. And then not just that, from the from the zippers and the inner lining, everything is just higher quality
I think
than.
my favorite thing about it is that no backpack is the same. Because the denim is donated, I compared mine to like every picture on your Instagram, and none of them are the same. It's physically impossible.
I forgot to even mention that. That's one of the biggest selling points to our customers is they love the one-of-one aspect of our backpacks. Because they're made out of recycled jeans. No two backpacks will look alike. So everyone has their own bag. Like you can even see right here.
I know our bags are different.
These bags are different, and then even down to like the old pocket, like.
I thought that was a mistake at first, but then I realized that's just the different.
No, this is where the pocket sat on, and then we took out the pockets from some of the jeans, and so you'll have little like unique marks like that on the backpacks.
Got it. Well, once again, thank you, brother. I think that'll be closing up for today.
Thank you for having me, Mario.
To see where this all goes.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you again. All right, it's a wrap, my friend.